Right, hello. You're joining me in my greenhouse, and I'll give you a quick look at what I'm overwintering in here. This is going to be unheated. I have in previous years heated this greenhouse, but this year I'm heating my summer house instead, so this will be unheated. So let's have a look at the selection of plants for an unheated greenhouse. So let's start here. I've got a selection of Agave perii, which I grew from seed beginning of the year. They're looking like nice little plants now. So they can take the cold as long as they're kept dry, so they'll be in here. I've got a small propagation of a yucca variegated. Got a lot of date palms. I've got some on the bench up top here, and I've got a lot underneath. They're all edible date palms grown from seed a few years back. Got some more agaves and cacti on the floor. Got a Schefflera as a house plant, but I'm not too fussed about that. That'll stay in here all winter. If it dies, it dies. If it survives, and that'll go out in the garden next year. That's fine. We've got a purple heart plant. It's actually started to come in flower. So I've got several of them, which will stay in a greenhouse. They can take the cold as long as they don't get frosted. And yeah, they'll go out in the garden next year. Again, various cacti. Got a pineapple lily there. That'll eventually die back, and I'll start it off again in here next year. So let's have a look at the avocado trees. So I grew them from seed. Actually, about this time last year they germinated, so a year's growth. So the pot's here, got quite a long stem on it. So that one's about 3 foot, and this one, you can see the actual avocado stone there. This one's only about 2 foot, but yeah, so they grow pretty quick, for basically a year's growth. They have stayed in the greenhouse all summer. But yeah, they grow pretty quick. We've got loads of the cordylines. They are hardy, but obviously in small pots. Don't want them to freeze through, so they'll be fine in here. We've got, this was a happy accident. This is a little Fatsy, which grew from seed underneath the big Fatsy I got, so that must have obviously dropped seed. They flower through the winter, and obviously drop the seed, and yeah, so we've got a baby plant there, self-seeded. We've got some tetrapanics, which I dug out from the little pups from the mother plant. Done previous videos on them, so obviously they will drop their leaves. I mean, since the propagation, obviously I've kicked out a couple of little leaves, but yeah, hopefully next year they'll kick in properly. I'll get one of them in the front garden, I think. This is again another edible date palm, Phoenix dactylifera, grown from seed. That's probably about 4 years old. These are all ones I've done in the spring this year, so yeah, they had all summer to grow, so that they've actually got to, for I guess 8 months from seed, they're done quite well. They're all on the sort of 3rd leaf. there's a little fig tree there, and some more Phoenix dactylifera. So yeah, just generally stuff that can take the cold but don't want to be wet. I'm going to keep in the greenhouse, like I say, unheated. It doesn't get much sun in the winter, this greenhouse, but I will be running a small fan there. That is a fan heater, but I won't have the heat on. That'll just circulate the air so we don't get no mould growing. This is a bit of ginger grown from a supermarket bought. Bit of ginger, and that's done okay. So I'm guessing that's sort of spread quite nicely now. So I could harvest the ginger off that if I want to. We've got a small Philodendron xanadu, which are surprisingly hardy for normally sold as a house plant. So these are like the white dwarf split leaf philodendrons. I'm not particularly fond of them because they are so small and just look a bit ruffled looking and a bit scruffy. But yeah, so that's just the general view. Obviously, yeah, there's some green aeonians there in a pot. So that's about it really. I will probably bring in, I've got some other stuff in pots like begonias and that, which are still flowering at the moment, so when they die back I'll bring all the pots in here and let them overwinter, and when they come back next year I'll put them in the ground. So yeah, it's just a little look at what we're doing. I mean, going back to the edible date palms, like I say, most of these are this year's or last year's. They are incredibly hardy. I wouldn't necessarily have them outside at this size, but I have got one outside which survived last year's or last winter's worst, and still looking good. So they are hardy. It's just they're just very slow. They're slower than the Phoenix canariensis, but they're worthwhile doing if you eat dates, or if you like growing stuff from seed. It's definitely worth a try. You know, you get a pack of the dates for about 60 pence, and there's probably about 50 in there, and they germinate so easy. Yeah, it's a nice little project. You know, take a few years to come to anything, but so yeah, I'd say these ones are like this year's, and most of these down here are last year's. So obviously a fairly decent sized plant. And then you expect third year to go pinnate. So yeah, it's a nice little side project if you like doing growing stuff from seeds. Like I say, they are a slow one, but they don't take up much space, and they're, you know, easy to overwinter in a cold greenhouse or cold frame or conservatory. They don't need any particular special treatment, you know, over winter. They don't need a huge amount of light. They'll just sit there dormant. Right, I think that's gonna do it for what I'm overwintering in the greenhouse, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.